So if the clerk would call the roll?
Chairperson Martin,
Here.
Mr. Conway,
Here.
Ms. Scott,
Here.
all present.
Thank you. And we're also joined by the other members of the school committee. Thank you all for staying late with us. So our first topic, I guess we can just go from the memo here. First, I'd like to ask Mr. Gilbert if you could give us an update.
We have sent out the marketing brochure. We have been recruiting candidates. At the present time, I can tell you that we have about 13 applications already in. Superintendent applicants are like kindergarten's children, and the deadline is Friday, and on Friday I will have a significant number of applicants who will show up on my door on Friday afternoon. So we're working towards getting you a good superintendent for, actually a great superintendent for your next superintendent. And I've given copies, I think, to each of you, except for Connie, who was not in the room at the time, a copy of the marketing brochure that went out.
Which is what we approved at the last meeting.
Yes.
So it's no different.
Yep.
Okay.
I think tonight we're here to try to finalize the selection committee, whose role is to eliminate a number of candidates from the pool and bring to the school committee 5 finalists for the school committee to consider for the next superintendent of schools. What I would hope to do is meet with those folks next Wednesday evening, train them in some of the issues that they're going to have to deal with, such as the open meeting law, the conflict of interest law, those types of issues. Understand the confidentiality of the process at this point, and to work with them on questions for the interviews, which will be held the week of April 6th.
So the materials that we have list out the areas that we need to populate. I would actually jump ahead if we wanted to go through on the 3rd page of our packet. We can look at the recommendations for the building level administrator. Recommendation is Mr. Liam Skinner, the principal at the Daily School. From the central office representative, Ms. Patricia Gajeka, the Title I director. My understanding from Mr. Cassidy is that Mr. Martin is zeroing in on a student, so we should get that information soon. Is that correct?
I spoke to Mr. Martin today. I was over at the high school. He's narrowed it down to 2 students. Both students are looking at their schedules with sports and testing in life, yeah. So that's where that stands.
Okay, so that would still be outstanding. And then we have the 3 teacher recommendations of Ms. Kathleen McLaughlin from the Rogers STEM Academy, Ms. Pina Maggio from the Robinson Middle School, and Mr. Paul George is the president of UTL. So if we take out the Lowell High School student, I'd make a motion that we accept the building level administrator, central office representative, and 3 teachers. I'd make that in the form of a motion, seconded by Mr. Conway. If there's any discussion from our colleagues before we take a vote, I would welcome that.
For my own edification, how do we come to pick the level administrator and the central office representative? Were there more than one person may have applied for each of these, or no?
Mr. Gilbert?
They self-selected from the group. So in other words, all the central office folks got together, all the building level administrators got together, and they self-selected.
Any other questions, concerns for these candidates? Okay, so the motion stands. All those in favor, please say aye. Opposed? Okay, so we've gotten through that one. Our next, so that gives us 5 confirmed members. I would look at the community focus group that on page 2 of your packet. Again, we had a great many people who, a number of people who were able to participate in the focus group. We also had, invitations were sent out to a number of organizations throughout the city. I have to thank everyone who participated and others who I know shared some comments and insights. with various members about their concerns when they weren't able to be part of the focus group, but wanted to, express what they're hoping for in a new superintendent. So I thank everyone who was involved in the process. My understanding is that there was a conversation at that subcommittee about representation, and this is just what I've heard, so I'll say it out loud and then we can all know the same things. My understanding is that a self-selection opportunity was put forward, and Susan Lin, who is the director of Project Learn, was the one who was selected. I greatly value Susan Lin's contribution and everything she does for our district. So, having worked with her very closely and been very impressed with her performance, I absolutely have great respect for her. I will say my concern is that we have an opportunity, given the group of people who participated, to have a representative from the University of Massachusetts Lowell, from the Graduate School of Education. Dr. Pearson, I know, has been involved in other selection committees, and I think would be an extraordinary voice to have as part of this. And I really want to be clear that I am not discounting Ms. Lynn in any way at all. I just really feel like we would benefit from having the voice of someone who's educated educators for the last 25, 30 years. Yes, Mr. Conway.
Excuse me, are you saying in place of or in addition to?
I would say in place of, because I again, with the hope being that we can try and keep this focused in terms of the numbers. Again, I just think that it would be an important voice for us to have, both from the university representation and also specifically from the Graduate School of Education, where I think there's an extraordinary amount of expertise with Mr. Pearson. Yes.
I think that the two individuals you just named, I think, have obviously different, they have certainly given different types of pluses, should we say, to our school system. The university with Don Pearson, needless to say, he's been involved with the school system for a number of years. He's also been a pioneer in early childhood development, so there's no doubt about it, he'd be a great addition. However, also when you take a look at, and I know that the business community has, should we say, appointed the Susan Lin as their representative because of the fact that she deals with that particular program that brings in a number of different businesses. And I know that I happened to attend the last meeting, and there was a definite, they wanted to see Susan Lin on this because that would have been the representative from the business community. And keep in mind something, and again, it was one of the motions that I'm extremely proud of, and that is to have a grant writer that, through the generosity of the business community, has brought in over $2 million for the benefit of the school department. And I really think that every time we need some help, we always reach out to the business community. And the business community is always there for us. So I really think that, you make a good point, Ms. Martin, for Dawn Pearson, but I think that I would like to see the both of them, not either or, to be quite frank with you.
Any other comments, recommendations?
So are you choosing two people or recommending two people?
Well, the subcommittee that's the discussion right now.
Okay.
But again,
I mean,
go right ahead.
has Mr. Pearson expressed an interest in serving on the committee?
I haven't been, he's actually at a conference in Oxford, England right now. I've reached out to him. He says he's more than happy to speak with me about it, but I wasn't able to confirm anything with him prior to this meeting.
He was an attendee at the meeting
Yes.
that chose
Yeah.
Lynn as the representative.
Well, then, we don't know then whether he would accept it or
If he'd
not.
be able to, no, I absolutely know.
So, I mean, as far as this is concerned, why can't we go forward with this Susan Lin choice? And then if Dawn Pearson wants to participate, I don't see any problem with adding him on, to be quite frank with you.
Yep.
So just to
Ms.
clarify, so every other name that's on this list is disqualified? Are you choosing two?
Well, yes, that was the, yes.
Because you had
There's one
another,
representative from the community-based organizations.
because you had another one here, Sharon Hardy Gallagher,
Mm-hmm.
who piqued my interest in number one, she was a parent, you know, for a number of years and, two kids in Lowell Public Schools. She's an educator, apparently, and she does a lot of work with Common Core. So that, you know, sort of raised my interest in terms of,
I don't know.
this being a, a positive choice for appointment to this advisory board.
So as Mr. Gilbert, just to be clear, my understanding is that Ms. Hardy would be included as part, is this community representative
At large.
at large? And that's
Yes.
what this group is that we're discussing right now?
No, I thought we were talking about the
So this is
community
the
representatives.
community-based organizations.
Community-based
And
organizations.
then we have a separate one for the
The
community
community
at large.
members at
Okay.
large. So, yes, she
She'd
would
be
be a
part of that
community
other
member at
group.
large.
All right, okay.
Madam Chair?
Yes,
If
Mr. Gender.
So I don't know if it's appropriate time, but I did want to second that recommendation of Mrs. Gallagher, Hardy Gallagher. I think that she was president of the Friends of Lowell High a few years back, and she did a tremendous job running that organization. She's a graduate of Lowell High, as a matter of fact, a valedictorian from Lowell High. She's got 2 kids that went through Lowell High School. She's in the education field. I think she'd be a real asset to the committee.
So we'll get to that one. Yes, Mr. Cassidy.
I just want to clarify the information that you have, what you have on your sheet and accompanying documents behind it is it's the community partners and the community representatives at large that you need to choose from. So there are groups that are partners in there that have voted people forward, and then there are individuals who you would consider as community members at large.
So
I
it's
didn't
not
think it
two
was
separate-
my, I didn't think it was my,
I think-
my purview to determine who's necessarily a partner. So it's combined. Out of this group, it's my opinion, is that this 4 needs to come out. So two of your partners, and then 2 at large.
I think to clarify even further, if you look at the list that's on, I think it's about page 17, those where the street address is listed simply submitted letters as community members at large. And those,
So I'm trying to find page 17. What is
okay,
it?
so it's
Maybe if you hold it
What's
up.
the heading on it?
It has a Lowell Public Schools heading, Superintendent Search Committee, 2 community partner representatives and 2 community representatives at large. They're not numbered, but I'm looking at a PDF document that has, so it's about 17 pages in, yeah.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Cassidy, you said you didn't separate out the community members and the community at-large members, but I thought the group that were the community partners were supposed to self-choose their members.
We did ask them at the meeting to try to do that, and there were, and also to send a letter in to the office if they were interested. So the business community and many of those folks, I guess, are also on the Project Learn board. So they got together and did select Ms. Lynn. The others, I think, just submitted letters from their organization saying that they would like to participate and that that person was able to commit to the schedule.
Also, Middlesex Community College recommended 1 representative from their organization.
But that's on the community at-large list, as is someone from the Health Alliance and from Project Learn, again, Susan Lynn.
Yeah, so those,
So there's really a mix all the way
Yeah.
across.
There's a mix all the way around.
They're all community members.
Very exactly.
So, okay. So that's what he's saying.
I thought we had 2 and 2, but I could be wrong.
Okay, so the list that we're looking at for the community partners, who are representing
So you had the Middlesex Community College rep, Maria Kuna, Carrie D'Entremont.
So the page that says okay, the page that I'm looking at here that says 2 community partner reps, 2 community representatives at large.
Right.
Is that just a list of the community representatives at large?
No, that is a list of both the community partner representatives and the community representatives at large who submitted letters to the school department. And the letters are below. The letters are after that, that they submitted.
So in theory, we're looking at 4 names from this list.
Yes,
Of this list of 7, we're picking 4 people.
yes. And since you have reached out to Mr. Pearson, you could certainly add Mr. Pearson to that list and.
Madam Chair, so
Yeah.
one of the folks on the list has already been chosen for another category, right? Totally.
Well,
is
no,
on
this
another-
is the community partner category.
Close, we're picking 4 from this,
4 from this list.
all right.
Okay, so why don't we, looking at the community partner list, this combined list, we've already talked about our interest in wanting to ensure that Ms. Lynn is part of it. And then, why don't we, what I'd recommend, why don't we do a single nomination? So I would nominate Ms. Lynn to be one of the 4 representatives on this committee. I would make that motion, seconded by Mr. Conway. Any conversation from our other members? No. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We have 1. Yes, Mr. Conway.
I'd like to make a recommendation for Maria Cunha from Middlesex Community College.
Seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have 2 members. Would, what I'd actually say is, why don't we wait and we can add him on?
I was going to say, Madam Chairperson,
Yeah.
so the deadline is already passed for individuals that have expressed interest in.
What was that deadline?
It was, I think we actually extended it to Monday, right?
Monday at noon.
Monday at
It
noon.
was this
Monday
past
at noon.
Monday.
This past Monday?
Yes.
16.
So this is a complete, we're not expecting anything else to come in?
No.
Not at this time.
Okay.
But I think if there's a strong feeling that you would like Mr. Pearson to be part of this, I would think it would be easier for you to add him to the list now and have him decline, rather than have to come back to add him if he so chose to do it later.
Just got to be honest with you, Madam Chair,
Yeah.
that you have 7 people, all of them, only one of them I haven't worked with, that are pretty outstanding individuals, and we should be choosing from this list. Any one of them could do this very well, and it's kind of sad we can only pick 4 of them, but all of them, since they applied timely, we should be choosing from this particular list.
Yes, Ms. Scott. You may indeed.
Let's move forward with Ms. Sharon Hardy Gallagher.
Motion by Ms. Scott, seconded by myself. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We have 3. Yes, Mr. Conway.
Make a motion for Patricia Kerwin-Kelty.
Seconded by, I'm sorry, I'll second it, but open for conversation. Ms. Ross Sikowitz.
Sure. In these categories that are not employee-based, Ms. Kerwin-Kilty did note in her letter that she is a substitute teacher, so she's an employee of Lowell Public Schools.
I think that, I think that the individual, not all the individuals are outstanding. I
Right.
think either one of them could do it. I think she's been a member of outside communities in the past. I think she ran Catholic Charities. And, you know, it's kind of hard because all these people, as you're looking through them, are equally, you know, Mr. Bahu, for example, is actually elected member of the Greater Lowell School Committee, has done this before and has the knowledge to do it. So I think Ms. Kerwin-Kelty would be fantastic if that's what the subcommittee is going to choose and should be considered in the list. But again, it's troubling because, you know, Ms. Patricia Tobin's actually an active principal right now. So it's there's a lot of good folks on this list.
Not in
All
the
of them should be
district, though,
considered.
right?
Not in the district, no.
Right. I would say, I do think we may want to consider having an active employee as a community-based representative, and that, again, you know, knowing the work of Ms. Kerwin-Kelty, it's not a comment on that, but I do think that when we talked about our categories, we did state that we have 3 teacher representatives, just in terms of adhering to the overall criteria. If she is a current employee, we may want to, I think that's worth considering. I would be more comfortable with someone who was not a current employee.
I think the motion's on now.
Okay. So the motion's been made. All those in favor? I guess we need a roll call
What was the motion?
for Ms. Kerwin-Kelty.
Chairperson Martin,
No.
Mr. Conway,
Yes.
Ms. Scott? No. Motion fails.
I'm sorry for that. If Ms. Kerwin-Kelty is watching, I apologize. Okay, I know that, looking at the list, and again, I share my committee members' feelings that that's really a very impressive list of people. Looking at Ms. Carrie Detremont from the Lowell Healthcare Alliance, I would make a motion to accept or to nominate her. She does a great deal of work with both Lowell General, the Saints campus, and with Lowell Community Health Center. So I think she has a very good sense of working with some large partners that we work with on a very regular basis. So I'd put her forth as my nomination. Seconded by Mr. Conway. All those in favor? Opposed? Passes. We now have our 4 members from both the community partners and our community representatives at large. So remaining, we have parents. Is that correct?
Correct.
Where can I find that list? Is that the last one?
I think it's
Page 5.
towards the front.
5th page.
5th page.
Yeah, it's right after the letter from Mr. Georges.
No, really. Okay, well, in that same vein, do we have, I know that we do have some current employees that are on this list, is that correct?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Conway?
You know, before we start picking here, again, if we do have current employees and they're a parent, they shouldn't be excluded because of what they do for a living. They're still a parent. So I think we have to keep that in mind.
Yes, Ms. Ross Sikowitz.
I think going back to Chairwoman Martin's previous statement, sticking to process and, sticking to the categories that we had identified.
I know it's a difficult thing, because I absolutely agree. I mean, a parent is a parent. We have parents on the school committee, who bring a specific perspective that I think is incredibly valuable. But we did craft this so that we could broaden the input, and we did want to ensure that we had, the voices of parents well represented. Can I ask how many are our current employees, Mr. Cassidy?
There are 2, Madam
Yeah.
Chairwoman.
Miss Stacy Dixon is a paraprofessional at the Pawtuckaville Memorial Elementary School. And Miss Katie LaRock is a teacher at the Greenhouse Elementary School. And Megan Hickok is also an employee at the Lowell Public Schools.
I'm sorry,
Megan Hickok,
mm-hmm. Is a paraprofessional?
I think she's a tutor in the Lowell
Oh,
Public
okay.
Schools.
So she's a tutor. Yes, Mr. Leary.
Just, I think, one thing we don't have, I think, is a good special ed. There is a parent that's on the special ed pack, the Lowell Special Education Parent Advisory Council. I think that's someone who should definitely be a representative on this committee.
So is that, which individual is that, which level?
Elementary, I believe it's Heather McKay Forsyth.
Okay.
I believe so.
So I'd entertain a motion to put forth the name of Ms. Heather Forsyth, correct?
Yep.
By Ms. Scott, you comfortable with that?
My only issue is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elementaries, so there's only one middle and one high school level.
There's well, it's two.
Very few,
At the,
very few applicants.
well, let's try to get, so the motion for Ms. Forsyth, do I have a second? Motion, second by Ms., it's okay, by Ms. Scott. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, one.
Madam Chair?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Gendron.
Thank you. I know she's also a teacher in the school system, but I just wanted to speak on behalf of Mrs. Katie LaRock. She's been very involved in the community. She's the only applicant here that has a high school student also in the field. She has both a middle and a high school student. I think she'd provide an excellent perspective on the process. So I would recommend her to you if you wanted to choose one. And we really should have somebody who has a high school student.
And I would just second that. I think it's an outstanding individual who's in here, someone who's dealt and has worked on many different committees. Her and her husband as well have been leaders in our school community of Friends of Lowell High. It would be an excellent pick to add to this committee as a person who is intelligent as well as able to stand on their own 2 feet, make their own decisions.
And who was that? I'm sorry?
Catherine LaRock.
Oh, okay. I'm going to make the all-important motion that we, I think we, despite my great efforts to try and streamline the process, where we have 7, and if there is the will to include current employees, I would make the motion to accept all 7 applicants and add them all to the selection committee. Do I have a second?
All 7?
Include all 7. I am not Solomon. Have no capacity.
It'll be up to 16, 17.
Yep. I mean, that's the motion. I would entertain any comments from my colleagues. I mean, I honestly think that this has spun out already. That is my own personal opinion. So.
All right, I'll second it then.
So we have a motion and a second. Again, entertaining any, this is your opportunity. If this is a wrong road, please tell me. Okay, let's travel. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Has that completed our selection?
It has.
Excellent. I thank everyone for staying late with us. Yes, Mr. Mayor?
So we just added how many people to it?
We just added an additional 5. Oh, 4. 4. Yeah.
Make the commitment at the time.
Yeah,
They said
and if they can.
as long as you don't-
No other comments? Yes, Ms. Rosikowitz?
And actually, I think adding all of them to this committee, I think it's great. It's, the more parents, the better, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm totally fine with this.
There you go. Okay, then I thank everyone for staying late with us this evening. Motion to adjourn by Mr. Conway, seconded by Ms. Scott. All those in favor say aye.